I'm looking at my list because there's a lot of books to talk about today, guys. Well, hey there, reader friends. I'm Erica, and welcome back to my channel. And today I am going to do a kind of November into December video. I'm going to discuss my November wrap-up and some of the books that are going to, continue on from November into December because I haven't finished them yet, and my December overall TBR. So let's go ahead and get started. In November, I read and completed altogether 5 books, several of which were for the Contemporary-a-thon readathon. There were 2 books I completed in November that were not for Contemporary-a-thon. The first was Pashmina, which is a children's graphic novel that follows Priyanka, a Indian-American teen, and her exploration of her heritage, which her mother has kept from her throughout her life. Her mother is very hesitant to talk about her life in India. Priyanka's father is not in the picture, and there's allusions to perhaps a not very good history there, but it's never really explained in complete detail. And there is a magical pashmina, which is a kind of like shawl blanket thing, and it's magical. And I'm not going to say anything else, spoilers. I gave this book 4 stars because it just didn't feel like 5 stars. I finished the book and I enjoyed it quite a bit, but I didn't leave it feeling like, whoa, that was a 5-star read. I can't put my finger exactly on why. I'd have to really reread the book and figure it out. But yeah, it was amazing. I highly recommend it. It was a great diverse pick. The second book I finished that was not part of Contemporary-a-thon was Wonder by R.J. Palacio. That's how I'm going to say the name today. That's the way it's going to go. I gave this book 4 stars as well. I enjoyed it so much. Augie is just, he is dear to my heart, and if anybody ever hurts Augie, I will come after them with some type of weapon. Books, probably heavy books. I'll come after them with heavy books. I also really liked how this book had several different point of views. It provided a lot of insight into Augie's life, not only through his eyes, but how his life was affecting his family members and friends. It was just really well written and really well executed. I didn't give it 5 stars because it felt a little too like it was wrapped up in a bow. And that's really a picky critique to give, but it sometimes got a little too saccharine, a little too sticky sweet for me. I felt like there were times, of course, where my heart was aching for Augie, but I never felt real peril for him, and I don't think that was a bad thing. But for me personally, I guess I like my characters to be in a bit more peril and to suffer. Don't know what that says about me. Oh well. Now for Contemporary-a-thon, I read 4 books, and I'm just going to go through them really quick. I'm not going to give really long summaries. I'm not going to give a lot of details. I'll just give you the book and how many stars I gave it, and that will be that. The first book I finished was Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Laura Miracle. I gave this book 5 stars. I'm now probably going to read it every single winter. I love it so much. I have so much warm and fuzzies for this book, and if you didn't like it, that's fine, but you don't need to tell me about it because I love it, and it's going to have 5 stars, and that's the way it's going to be. Again, I misspoke earlier. I read only 3 books, not 4 books. Erica can't count and do math today. I read 3 books for Contemporary-a-thon. The second book I read for Contemporary-a-thon was the group pick, and that was Like Water by Rebecca Potos. I gave it 2 stars, which was being generous, because I was so bored. This book, I felt like the author was so in love with her own writing that she didn't have an editor who was like, yes, but you gotta have a plot that moves, girl. You gotta have a plot that moves. Otherwise, your readers are just gonna be like, I don't care. I don't care. Also, I felt like she didn't know what book she was writing. Was this a novel rooted in place? Was this a novel about your family and Hodgkin's disease? Was this a novel about you having like, sexual awakenings and discovery about who you are as a person? You can't do all the things in one book. You're not that good a writer. You weren't that good a storyteller. I'm being really mean, but that's the truth of it, and I resent that I had to read it a bit because it was painful. And the final book I read for Contemporary-a-thon was The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torrey, and I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. I read it in one sitting. I could not stop. It's kind of a book where, well, it's definitely not for kids, and it's definitely spooky, and it's definitely creepy. Not spooky, creepy. Creepy is the way I would say. But I gave it 5 stars because while I didn't necessarily not see the twist coming, I just thought the way that Torrey built tension and mood within her text was astoundingly good. I felt so invested in the characters, and I really was invested in the story, and I just loved it so much, and I want to read the others, but there's no library near me that has them, so I'll have to purchase them, and I just, we'll see, I might have to give in and buy them. I might have to give in. Unless somebody wants to let me borrow it, I would be your friend. Just saying. Now, there are 4 books that I started in November but didn't finish. I'm going to try and finish them in December. The first book is kind of shameful. I'm embarrassed. But I need to finish Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I have started it a couple times and then read other things, and I need to really devote myself and get this read. I think I just need to give it the time and energy it deserves. It doesn't seem to be a book that I'll be able to just pick up and, you know, read. It's not fluffy. John Green is not fluffy, and his writing is not fluffy. I need my brain. I have to have brain energy to read it. Another book that I started in November that I'm going to finish in December, actually I kind of already did finish the audiobook, but I'm going to go back and reread a couple of chapters, is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. I'm enjoying it muchly. I'm enjoying it muchly. We're going to leave it at that. Another book I started in November that I want to finish in December is The Evolution of Calpurnia Tate by Jacqueline Kelly. It takes place in turn-of-the-century Texas, and it follows our main character, Calpurnia, who is an emerging biologist and wants to study evolution and is really interested in science, but this is in the turn of the century, and girls don't necessarily get appreciated when they want to go into science, and I am enjoying it. I'm about maybe 40% through it, so I'm going to finish it this month. The final book I'm going to finish in December that I started in November, actually that I started in October, is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. I'm enjoying this so much, but because it's a Victorian novel, it takes a lot of brain energy for me to read this book, so I can only read it, like, at certain times. I have to really be in a space where I can just focus and not be distracted, and those times are far and few between, but it's gotta happen. I want to know what happens. I want to know what happens. I have 4 books that I didn't finish for Middle Grade-a-thon, which was the first week in December, so I'm going to finish them later this month. And if you want summaries of these books, you can check out my Middle Grade-a-thon TBR. I'll leave a link to it down below. I'm going to finish George by Alex Gino, All's Fair in Middle School by Victoria Jameson, Amina's Voice by Henna Khan, and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling, which is also going to be my Throwback Thursday pick. I love Harry Potter. It's time for Harry Potter all the time. Harry Potter all the time, guys. There's a continuity difference. Can you guys tell the continuity difference? There are 3 books that are completely new that I haven't started yet that I'm going to read in December. That's the goal. 2 of them I need to read because I want to read them before 2018. It has to happen. First, I really need to read, and I really need to read. I'm really embarrassed I haven't read it yet. I want to read it so bad. It's gotta happen. Is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I need to read it. It has to happen. I need to read it. Next, I want to read The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien, which will complete the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I started, like, in the beginning of the summer. I really want to finish this trilogy and just have 2017 be the year of the Lord of the Rings. I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen. And the final book I want to read in December is a nice little holiday romance pick that fits because it's the holidays. I want to read Pride and Prejudice and Mistletoe by Melissa Delacruz. I'm guessing it's a Pride and Prejudice type of retelling, which I am on that train because I love Pride and Prejudice retellings. I love classic retellings. I love classics. I love anything that has Darcy. If there's a Darcy person, I'll read it. Let me read it. Tell me about it. I'll read it. So that's it. Those are the books that I finished in November, the books that I started in November and I'm going to finish in December, and the books that I have yet to start in December and will hopefully finish before the new year starts. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any comments, be sure to leave them down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye! So that's why it's 4 stores. 4 stores? 4 stores.